I love when people are asking different geography questions about where people are from. Awesome, awesome. Okay, guys. So as I said, we're going to go ahead and get started. So just a kind of reminder, but there is a question and answer button, but I have asked Alicia to kind of stick with the chat. So if you guys have any questions, please, please, please go ahead and put them in the chat. And I've also asked Alicia, she's my co-presenter. We're going to introduce ourselves completely in just a minute. I've also asked her too if there's anything that is like a question that I can answer right away. Please, please, please. I'll be more than happy to do that. Even though we do have a lot of people, I do not want to wait till the very, very end if we're in a position where we
Mhm.
can answer a lot of those questions right away. So let me go ahead and introduce myself before we do what we've gotten, where we get covered. My name is Kathleen Garrity. I am a K-5 resource teacher right now. This is year 34 for me. I've been in the classroom for 32 of those. Just recently took a K-5 social studies resource position and love it. I love working with teachers. The district that I am in has 148 elementary schools. So very, very, very large district. I work on implementing TCI in my district. So that's my whole entire job, and I love it. Get to model for teachers, get to go around and do a lot of different things. So, what we're going to be covering today is making that connection with literacy and social studies. Now, I know that sometimes social studies gets kind of pushed off to the side a little bit to make way for more literacy. And because we're trying to make sure kids are reading and all of that. So I want to give you guys some research, and we're also going to talk about different ways that you can put social studies into your literacy block and when you can fit it in and when it makes perfect sense. We're going to walk through a third grade lesson, and then we're going to answer the question, what is in my program that will help my students with literacy? We're going to specifically answer that question. Okay, so I've got two numbers here. Two numbers. What I want you guys to do, I want you to think about it for a moment, and I'm in a moment. What do these numbers mean? What do you think these numbers possibly mean when we're talking about literacy and social studies? So I'm going to give you guys a moment if I can have some extremely nice volunteers put their answers in the chat. And Alicia, I'm so sorry. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself again? I apologize. I
No
got going.
worries. You're fine. Hi, guys. I'm Alicia. I'm a sales consultant with TCI, former classroom teacher, and I use TCI in my own classroom.
Oh, Heather, thank you for taking the amount of time spent in the classroom. Oh, okay. Good guess. Good guess on there. Oh, Lorna, you are, I wish. Lorna put on there 57% language arts and 41. Oh, uh, we are not doing TCI science on here. This is social studies. Okay. I think that's a science. Okay.
Yeah.
The overlap between the subject. Oh, I think you are the closest. Okay, so I'm gonna put you guys out of your misery over here. 57% is the amount of social studies vocabulary words in literacy text that students will encounter on state tests. Now, that is a Marzano statistic, so it's pretty high in science too. So, in order for them, so they are going to encounter 50%, 57% of the vocabulary words that they're going to encounter, and 3.5 are going to be social studies on literacy text.
Mhm.
41 is K-1-2, vocabulary, social studies, vocabulary words in literacy text. These numbers are extremely high. So the moral of the story is teach social studies because we ask students to read these texts. But if like one of the ones that actually live in Florida, one of our released questions was about the branches of government. Now, if students have no idea about the branches of government, it's going to make comprehending that text even harder. So it's definitely that high 51%, 57% over there. So the moral of the story is, as I said again, teach social studies because they are going to encounter social studies vocabulary words in their literacy text. And social studies also supports oral language. As more districts move away From computers, they're moving more towards into we got to teach kids how to talk to each other and how to use that oral language. Best way is to teach social studies. It does support oral language. Okay. And Alicia, I'm gonna guess you're looking at the chat over there. I'm guessing they're still answering the questions over there.
Yes.
Perfect. So I
I
would
did have someone ask if you could present it in your screen in present mode.
okay, I thought it was. And can you not see it? Or
Stephanie, are you having trouble seeing it?
yeah, because if you could go ahead and just kind of message her because I have it in present mode. I
Okay.
put the slideshow in present. Okay, so this right here, I just want to go over with you guys very, very quickly. So this is the setup of all of your lessons, whether it is K-5 in your social studies alive program. So this is the TCI lesson cycle. We start out all of our lessons with a preview, then go into the classroom activity, the engagement strategy, and then end with a processing. There is also available to you a formative and some form I'm sorry, summative assessment. The processing can be used as a formative assessment, completely up to you. And then every one of our lessons ends with something called a read and do. A read and do is going to be an extension of that lesson, a little bit more of a higher topic, higher interest topic on there. Not really a suggestion to meet all the standards to just do the read and do, but if your students are super excited about a topic, and that's going to give you a little bit more information about that particular topic. And when we go over the lesson that I'm going to go over today, I will show that to you. Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and go live. And I am going to be doing a third grade lesson, but the layout is going to be the exact same, no matter what program that you are in of ours. But obviously, the content's going to be different, a little bit different, not a little bit, a lot different, and the complexity, of course, is going to be different between a K and a 5. So everybody is going to land as soon as they open up their program is going to land on this home page right here. This is our landing page. And on here, you are going to have all the different units that we have available to you. Now, personally, I never remember what unit I am in. So helpful up here is going to be this table of contents up here. That table of contents is going to bring you to the lessons right here so you can go right to them. They are all linked. Before I do that, though, I do want to show you kind of the unit openers for this particular program, which is California Communities, which is our third grade program.
And
So I'm going to,
Kathleen, I do have a question.
yes, sure.
Someone asked, great question. Are the units meant to be taught in order?
That is totally up to your district. My district does not. We do citizenship first before we do anything else. Now, there we do a whole that's because of the state requirements, and that's what it all boils down to is the state requirements and your district too. Because many states do that whole like we want all of these things covered. How your district decides to do them is very, very much up to you. I will tell you this one is a great suggestion how they have these laid out. And I'm just going to say this. Fifth grade is U.S. history. You kind of need to do that one in order because it's chronological order. And fourth grade is California's history too. The other ones, when you talk about K1, 2, that's going to be very much up to your district. Okay. This one I like because it starts out with what does our area look like? And then we're definitely getting into the indigenous people and then moving on from there. Great question, whoever had that one. Okay, so once we go in, every one of these units is going to have a compelling question. And the compelling question is going to be what we're going to be answering as we go through this unit. So if your district has you do them in this order, it's a great way to start is to go ahead and start with these unit openers and look at the compelling question. Hey, students, this is what we're going to be looking at. And my district does a lot of compelling questions. And that is going to be what we're talking about when we go over this unit. So the student, everything that we're doing, then afterwards, we get done with maybe after a couple of days, we revisit that compelling question and go, okay, guys, what did we learn today that helps us answer this question about learning about how the communities of California have changed over time. So what did we learn that's going to tell us all about how they've changed over time? So it's just a great way to kind of put everything together on there. And there are unit introductions and unit wrap-ups also too. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at this making communities better because that's the one that we're going to do. And gonna make a little confession. This is by far one of my favorite lessons. And I always have teachers invite me in because we have one similar to this in Florida. Same premise of it, but different people. And I'm like, please invite me in because I love this lesson. So when you first get into the lesson, everything on this main dashboard page is lesson specific. So if you want to find the materials that you need in order to teach this lesson, you actually need to go into the lesson and you're going to see where you are right up here. Okay, so that's going to tell you right there. As you scroll down, it's going to have everything that you need to teach this lesson. So you have, if I just want to do the reading with my students, now we have two different classroom activity slideshows. Now, this one is an older version, and it's going to kind of be these little carrots and drop down. Some people really like it. I believe it's going away soon, but the one that and this is gonna make y'all laugh, but we all know 2.0 usually means a little bit, the upper version over here. I always suggest to people to use the 2.0 version because it flows a little bit smoother. And then we also remember we talked about that very briefly about that read and do. Okay, so also on here, some primary sources that have to do with this particular lesson. And then how are we assessing? Okay, so this is on that main dashboard page. Also up here too is going to be our planning. Okay, and under our planning, we're going to have our overview, what materials that we need for this lesson, outside of their workbook. If your students have that interactive student notebook, the procedures. How in the world do I even do this lesson? I'm not sure on how to do it. The teacher prep, differentiation, what can I do to help out my different learners that I have in there? And I always tell people, and I know I've said this already, the differentiation is lesson specific. So there's not an overall arching for the whole program. Please go into the lesson to find that differentiation. So as you can see on here, we have stuff for English language learners, learners reading and writing below grade level, and also our advanced learners. And then if you need any other additional topics like picture books about this, here are some additional ideas on there with descriptions. So descriptions are super helpful because you're like, oh, great, a book, but what's the book about? So if you want additional reading opportunities, additional picture books, here you're going to find them right on here about this topic. It's going to be under the lesson. And that's all under the planning part. Okay. And
And then
also some websites too. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I did have a question. They asked, is the compelling question at the beginning, that unit
Mhm.
overview, is that the same as an essential question?
Okay, so no, that compelling question is for the whole unit. Essential questions are going to be done per lesson. Great question, by the way.
Oh, great.
Yes. So let's go ahead. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now. Now, if you want to make sure, if you're like, "Ah, I want to make sure my students do the reading." If you do the classroom activity slideshow, the students are going to get the reading, they're going to get the read and do, and the most important part about that is they're going to get that engaging strategy. They are going to get that oral language, they're going to get that vocabulary. So I always suggest everybody do the classroom activity slideshow. And the classroom activity slideshow, I'm gonna go ahead and open it up for you guys. These are completely editable. So you just go ahead and open it up and it's going to open up in present mode and it opens up in a separate tab. So you can always go back. And these are all the different parts of this particular lesson. Now, before I scare anybody, um, this lesson is broken down into different phases because there is a part in here. This lesson is a little bit bigger. It's our strategy called problem solving group work, where students are going to work together in groups of four and they're going to build a monument. Okay. So how I kind of you make they make up kind of an essential question on here is making communities better. So that the title of the lesson usually goes along with that essential question. So what we're doing is we're looking at people that are making our communities better. So to do this, you are just going through and clicking on the slides. Right down on here, it advances to each one of the slides on here. And as I said, it is broken up into different phases so that it's in chunks, so it's a little bit easier for you guys. So as remember when I said in the beginning, every single lesson is going to start out with a preview. So remember, we're talking about making communities better. So this is the preview. Now, in one and two and three, many times in K1, two, and three, many times this preview is done whole group. And there's some in three and four and five, students are doing something individually and then they're talking about it as a whole group. Okay, so K1, two, sometimes in three, you're going to have that every preview is whole group first thing. In some three, four, and five, it's individual and then report back. So remember, we're talking about making communities better. So our preview assignment is going to be in your home. This is going to be whole group. Whose job is it to keep your house neat and clean? So then you're going to go over this together with your class. And you can go ahead and look at the pictures, talk about it a little bit, answer those questions. Then we're going to look at this image here and we're going to talk about this image. What do you see here? What do you think this person, where do you think this person is? So we've gone from their home. Now we're going to talk a little bit broader. Now we're going to go over what we see in here. Okay. And we're going to talk a little bit more about a monument because that's what we're going to be doing in this lesson is building monuments. So this is a monument to Rosa Parks. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Now, this is the part here where we're going to hear something that is about Rosa Parks' story. Now, it is, I'm sorry, guys. Let's make sure we can go ahead and play a small percentage of it. You can hear on here. Oops, would be helpful if I did.
Rosa Parks was an African American woman. In 1955, she lived in the community.
Okay, so it goes through. There is a transcript, so you can also hand it out to your students while it's being read to them. And then we're going to go over and answer these questions together as a whole group. And we're also going to introduce the vocabulary word of public virtue and talk a little bit more about it and what are some other examples of public virtue. And then you can, if you want, do a little bit more research on Rosa Parks. That's completely up to you if you would like to do that, if you have the time. That's why it's that time on this preview is pretty long. Okay. If you want to have them go ahead and present. Now, this is something that is in your interactive student notebook. Anytime you see that at, I don't even know what color that is, that bluish color around there. That means that's something that's in their interactive student notebook for them to answer. Now, they're making a plaque about Rosa Parks. So we've heard some things about her. We've talked about her a little bit. Let's go ahead and make a plaque about her. That could be outside that picture because that's what the students are going to be doing with the people that they are going to investigate. We're going to then read the introduction and we can read this together as a whole class. Now we are done with the preview, okay? How to shorten that up is don't do the research, just have them listen, talk about Rosa Parks, answer those questions, come up with some idea for the plaque. Now, what they're doing is they're reading about her, they're listening about her, and now they're also writing about her. So we're adding that additional layer of writing on there. Now we're starting the first phase. We are going to now read about good citizens and how they help out their community. So reading is the first part. Answer these questions in their notebook. Now we're going to divide out our class. And each group of four, you're going to put them in groups of four, is going to learn about one of these different people. And it's okay to repeat. Okay. I don't know how many people have 16 kids in their class. I never did. But we're going to say, okay, group number one, you're going to have Clara Barton, two, Ruby Bridges, um, Denise, group number three is going to have Denise, and then the next one's going to have Judy. Okay. So each group, and you're going to, you can have doubles. Two groups can have Ruby Bridges, totally okay. They are going to just read about their person. Look in their notebook, find the plaque section. They're going to work in their group to answer those questions. Then they're going to fill in just their section. Okay. So they do Ruby Bridges, Judy Human, whoever it might be. Okay. So that's what they've read, and they're just reading about their section, and they're also writing. Now, here's the part where we are going to work together with other people, and we are going to create a monument, just like we did with Rosa Parks, about this particular person that we learned about. In your materials section, it's going to have these handouts. So this is the first page. Each student is going to have a different job to do. So now they're learning how to work with other people. It's not a matter of that person does everything and that the pushy student or whatever. Now everybody has a job that leads up to that final product. So how I got to enlarge this is I just clicked on it. And then here's the next one. So it's going to go through step by step how these students are to create their monuments. Okay. And all of these materials are all there under the materials tab for you guys to go through and pass out to your students. Okay. At the end of each step, you are welcome to have them go through and have you initial to make sure that they've done it. So they're going to have a speaker, a sculptor, a writer, or a geographer. Then, I did not make any changes at all to this PowerPoint presentation, these slides. You guys can, if you want to make any changes on here, change the directions, add more directions, take away directions, completely up to you. Okay. And then the sculptor, what they're going to do. So every single person has a different step that they're assigned to. And
And
then
so
the
I do
last,
have a
go ahead.
question really fast,
Sure,
but kind
sure.
of regarding that notebook. So
Okay.
is the notebook, is that online or is it print? Because
It is both. It
yes.
is both. Yes. It is both. So if your district did not purchase the notebooks, you can actually just print off all of these pages. This right here, what I'm showing you right now, is additional materials to print off. It is not in their interactive student notebook. If we had all of these in there, the notebook would be like this thick, and that's just too big. So these are additional ones because like I didn't print off these handouts to every single student. I printed them out two per group so that the students shared because truthfully, they didn't all need a separate copy because then it all gets kind of like, then the person doing the plaque only has it on theirs and it just gets kind of a nightmare to kind of grade it. So if they have one that they're turning into me, with all these different steps on it, but then the other one is so they can read along. They won't all have to share off of one sheet. Great question, by the way. Thank you for asking that. Okay, and then we have our geographer. So sculpt, we have our person that's kind of leading everything. We have a person making our plaque. We have a person sculpting them into a monument because they're going to create a monument for either Ruby Bridges, Clara Barton, Denise Seneval, or Judy Human, going over what they do, and then a geographer, like, where would this monument be? And then they're going to present it to the whole class. Okay. Now, this phase three, now that second phase is going to take some time. 40 minutes is kind of a lower number on there. You want to make sure that they have time to kind of put everything together. What is nice is they don't have to read in that time because they've already read in phase one. Okay, they've already read about them. Now they're just putting everything that they learned into action. Okay. So here's the presenting. Students are going to, and I'll make this a little bit bigger, go behind the curtain. You can hold up a curtain, quickly get in position. Then the speaker is going to go ahead and talk about the monument. The writer is going to step out and talk about the plaque. The geographer is going to come out and say where the plaque should be. And then the sculptor is going to then answer any questions. Now, I want to give you guys kind of another little idea to use with this. Excuse me. Every year, we all love to do, not everybody, but I know a lot of teachers like to do living museums of different people for Women's History Month, for Black History Month. Now, this is a great way to have groups work on those people. So instead of us having an individual going around living museum, they could work in groups. You could use these jobs, give them some information about them. This is a great way to present those people in sort of a human monument instead of a living museum. Just kind of gives them a little bit more structure on there. This is what I suggested to a teacher to use and it turned out great because the fact it was just a little bit more structured on there and it had jobs for each one of the four people to do. So that's just another way to kind of use it too. Okay. So the group that is doing Claire Barton, you can have the whole class read or just have the students present and then have the other students or fill in what they have on there because I'll show you guys where they're going to fill everything in. So they're going to go ahead and present it. We have our little curtain here and they have one of these for all of the people on here. So then we do, Ruby Bridges. So I'm just going to be kind of going through this quickly, mainly because it's going to be the same. It's just the person's going to change. Okay, and our last one is Judy Human. Okay. Then this is our debrief. Tell me some things about them, guys. Tell me some things about how you felt when you were done. Because we really kind of want to talk about too, how did they feel during this? And also, what did these people do? Okay. So that would be the end of the lesson on there. Okay, so that is the end of the lesson. Now, I'm sorry, but the processing is the official end, but that's as far as we're going to get in any of the reading. Now, these additional ones that are on here are things that you can do if your students are super excited about it or you want to spend a little bit more time on them. And one of them is study your community. How do people make a difference in your community? Okay, so you have some information on there, and this is telling kids, have them do some research about different things that have been helpful in their community. And these are all things that they're going to be in their interactive student notebook or under the materials or online too, that they can also fill in. Now remember that read and do is going to be additional information. And this one is talking about the city of Berkeley and how it's changed over the years. Okay, with a timeline of things that have happened and have been changes. Now they have vocabulary here. Wherever you choose to do it, you can do it second, third, it doesn't matter, or at the end, they have it here. And this is a drag and drop. I will show you the other things that you can do for vocabulary. And this can also, if you want to, do it this way too. And then submit. Apparently, I didn't get any of them right. Remove them all because I didn't do a very good job. And then our last thing is that processing. So processing is that final check before if you want to do an assessment, and it can be used as a formative. So what they're doing in the processing is they're taking what they learned and doing something with it. So this particular processing is going to ask them, let's talk about people in our own community. So we talked about people around the United States and what they have done to make improvements. So let's talk about some people in our community. And you can have them pick people. You guys can talk about different people that are in the community. What have they done to make these differences for everybody? And that's what they're doing on here. And they're going to make a monument for them, one sentence on there with how this person did make a difference, and then present it. Okay.
And I do
And
have
then
a couple
sure,
questions.
sure. Go ahead, please.
So one is like, as the students are presenting,
Mhm.
should they be projecting that curtain slideshow?
That's up to you.
Yeah.
I didn't. And why I didn't is I wanted the students to focus more on the students that were presenting. But one thing I do leave up there, and it can be the same for all of them because it's just a picture of the United States, is that map. Because all of them are going to have the geographer, and what's really, really nice because then the student that is the geographer can walk up to the map and say, this is right here. So for Denise, it would be in San Francisco. So this is where her plaque, her monument should be.
Mhm.
Okay. So like Judy Heumann, it would be in New York. So that's going to give them, definitely leave that one up there. I did not leave up that curtain and go through all of them, but I did leave up for all of them, though, that map. Great question.
Yeah. And then another one is like, they said last year, Joe said last year I got lost in the order. So like I should
Okay.
present jumping between the textbook and the notebook and the online activities. Is there a type of table of contents that can be printed so that they know how to jump between the three mediums?
Okay, so I stuck with my classroom activity slideshow because the
Mhm.
classroom activity slideshow does include in there all of the reading, when to do the reading. So leave it open like I did up here. I left it open on a tab, and you can also, and I'm going to jump a little bit here. I don't remember what slide it is, and please bear with me. I apologize to you guys. I'm going to be okay. Uh, Hold on. Here we go. So to do that, you can actually do the reading through here. So you don't even have to leave the slideshow. Is if you click on this, the reading is going to pop up on here. Okay, so you then to get out of this, I just need to click this and I'm out. Okay, so this can be left up the whole entire time. What is also in here too is it does have those what goes in that interactive student notebook, excuse me, as I said, is also on here too. So you don't need to worry about having that open too because it is right on here. I hope that answered your question.
That's great.
Okay.
I do have another question
Sure.
as I'm going through them. What's like the day, how many days do you recommend for this lesson?
Okay, so this one is going to be a little bit longer, and this
Mhm.
goes for everybody with any problem solving group work. And then problem solving group work is a strategy, and how you know you have it is it has those four jobs. Okay, and I'm going to tell you these are going to take some time. So this one, let me tell you about my district with our timing, and then I'll hopefully help you because everybody is sort of different. We have 28 minutes 4 times a week. Okay, this took the teacher that I know that did this took her 2 weeks to do. She didn't do the assessment. She didn't do the read and do. She did do the processing. But that was kind of done. They did it as a whole class. They kind of worked on this together as a whole class. They talked about that together there. So it did take 2 weeks, but she very much kept them on track with the reading has to be done here. Okay, now we're doing this step. Now we're doing this step. Now we're doing this step. So because of that, it did take that much time. And remember, this is a whole lesson.
Mhm.
So it's not, this isn't half of a lesson. That's the whole lesson.
And so do you think they need to do another question as they do the
Sure.
activity? Should they do all the phases?
Okay, so take a look at them. This particular one I do suggest it. And why I say that is because phase one is they're reading about the person that they're going to presenting. And then they get all the information together and then they actually present it. Please, when students do all of that work, I know sometimes we run out of time for things, but if they worked really, really hard on it, please let them present. And I have made that mistake in the years that I've taught that I run out of time. Oh, I got to move on. I got to move on. I got to move on. Are you guys okay with not presenting? Oh, yeah, yeah, we're fine. The next time I gave them a bigger project like this, those kids did not work hard on it. So I found the time to have them present so they have that, they feel like all that work that they did was for something that somebody would see it. So with this particular one, because those phases do lead up to that final product, I do suggest it. Take a look at them and see if you can. But many times, the way that TCI has really nicely put it for us is that there's like not a whole bunch of extra stuff on here. It's very much like streamlined, so everything goes to that end, which is that last phase. Okay, so any other questions, Alicia?
Um,
Thank you for doing that. I appreciate that.
yeah. Does every lesson have an activity slash project to present?
Not all of them. Let's go ahead. Let me go back. So this is the end. I'm just gonna I have a couple questions about this one, but I do. Okay, so let's go over trying to remember. Go back to my home and let me take a look at the table of contents over here. Okay, so this one on here, if it is done the way that mine is done. Okay. So this doesn't have like this big project. What students are doing is they're learning about geography by blasting off into space, and they first look at hemispheres and they're going to be filling in something. So it's very much that visual. So they're blasting off here. They're going to go up in this on the space shuttle. Yeah, we're done and dated over here. You can call it SpaceX now. They're going to go up in a space shuttle and they're going to learn. They're going to go up and take a look at. Okay, let's look at hemispheres. Now, as we go around the Earth more, let's look at oceans and continents. So they're going to be filling in maps and different things, learning about geography that way. So this is a little bit different. So it's not going to be that project based. It's more individually based, but we work together as a whole entire group. So you can kind of see on here. And now they lost communication. So now they're having to talk about the hemispheres. Okay. And the equator and the prime meridian. So they're learning that way. Now they're going to label them. Okay. So
Kathleen, we
definitely.
have 10 minutes left.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Great question, guys. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the lesson. Thank you, Alicia. I wasn't kidding. Okay. So just a couple of things I do want to go over with you guys. So with this lesson, after you get done, you could head on down to the processing, which is formative, doing the lesson game. And these lesson game questions are based on the reading. So when you get done with the reading, great questions having to do with that. Okay. These are just vocabulary. So these are games doing with the vocabulary. These can be done individually if each one of your students has an account or as a whole entire class. There are also vocabulary cards, and these vocabulary cards can be turned into flashcards. If you click on print, and they can be done in English or Spanish. And I'm just going to open them up for you guys. And you can make copies of them. You do them double-sided, and they're already done for you on there. You can also take these cards and edit them. You can change them up and make that. You can add words, take away words, add in pictures. K1, 2 are going to have visuals with all of their flashcards. 3, 4, 5 do not. And down here, sometimes the back of the book gets forgotten. So I just want to kind of direct you guys to some things that are here for we have a Black History Brain Bowl in my district, and we rely very heavily on these biographies. These biographies are great. They have some that are videos and some of them that are just the text there, and they also have questions too. So just you can see on here who's got a video and who does not. I still laugh because Abigail Adams has one and her husband doesn't, but too bad for her. Um, so lots and lots of different people on here that, and the videos are all short. Okay, so they're not 20-minute videos where they're after like they're under, I believe they're under 3 minutes. So you don't have kids like going, after a few minutes, because these are super, super short. Just enough to kind of get them excited on there.
And I have another really good question. They were
Sure.
this, someone said, can you please clarify, is the majority of the TCI where students are doing this on their own, or are there parts that the teachers must do slash lead?
Okay, the reading can be always done on their own, but if you want that engaging part, you definitely need to be the one doing it. And where, and that is leading from this classroom activity slideshow. That is like your, if you have been, even if you're new, old, whatever, and you like teaching with PowerPoint, this is our Google Slides. This is set up very similar to it in that you can, let me go back. Let me go back. You can go through and change this up, but that's definitely like your teacher part of it. So definitely that is where the teacher is leading. Now, with those engaging strategies, every single lesson has a different one. There's going to be parts where students are working together with partners or groups of three or groups of four. That's where you're building that oral vocabulary. There is oral language. I'm sorry, oral language. There's also going to be parts in here where there's going to be some civil discourse. So it's already built in. We in social studies used to call that debate. For TCI, we call that the response group strategy. So, though that's when they're going to be talking to each other, and then you're going to bring them together. So the teacher is still and I dating myself by saying this. Some of the things you're going to be the stage on the stage. Oh, I'm saying it wrong. But then sometimes you're going to be the guide on the side, letting them go through and have that difficulty, but then going in and making sure you're going over it and you're leading it. And these are all things that you're going to find that all those directions and everything in the classroom activity slideshow. It is set up for you all to be able to go through and just follow along. It has all the questions, all the audio, everything is there ready to go. Okay, guys, so we have 5 minutes left. So any questions, Alicia, that you think we might want to answer from here?
Yeah, someone said if I looked at the classroom slideshow, activity slideshow, could I be confident that I'm covering everything?
Yes, because
Yes,
it's going to have everything in there. Yes. Everything
perfect.
that is in your standards. Yes.
And then someone asked if the videos were accessible for all grades. And then I did try to clarify if they meant the video activities.
That's not they don't have video activities in K-5.
Mhm.
But the video do you mean for the students? The
Oh, the
biographies, yes.
biographies. Yes, that's what they.
Yes, they
Yep,
are.
that's what they meant.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, yes, yes. I don't know what I just clicked on. Yes, they are. Apparently, the materials. Yes, they are. So, in fact, you can actually assign those to your students so that they could watch them. That's what we did. For students that were in the Black History Brain Bowl, we wanted them to focus on certain people. We just went to the biographies. And I'm going to apologize because these takes a little while because there's so much stuff in there. Um, and we assigned them to our students so that it popped up on that homepage. Anytime you see this calendar on here, then it's going to be creating an assignment, and then you could send that out to all of your students. And where that'll pop up, it'll pop up on that homepage, and they'll be able to go right to them. Okay. Alicia, if you could do me a huge favor,
Yeah,
and put that bit.ly back in there so everybody can go back in there.
absolutely.
So, guys, I am here for another 4 minutes. So, if you have any other questions that you want to ask, please feel free to go ahead and put them in the chat. And we will be here to answer any questions. Thank you guys so much. Great questions. I hope I made you feel a little bit more confident in your materials. Please go out there. It's so important that we teach social studies and get that oral language going for our students and helping them really kind of, I know the big trend now is to kind of move away from the computer. We want them to be able to talk to each other. I know in my district, K2, no devices at all unless it's for testing. So some people have never taught without devices. I mean, I remember that switch and I was like, do I have to use this thing? Because I wasn't used to it. Thank you guys. Maria, please go ahead and reach out to TCI at info@teachtci.com. So please reach out. That's definitely info@teachtci.com. Deanna, must not do's. That's going to be up to your district. Yeah, if you guys could go, if Alicia, if you could put that bit.ly in there. I know she's probably trying to find it. Maria, I understand. But yes, so Janet, you asked about short on time. Um, you didn't hear me say this, but with the people in my district, I asked them to just kind of look. I asked them to do one lesson per unit. You didn't hear that come out of my mouth. Oop, I don't know who Kathleen is. Just, but definitely ask your district. Oh, you know what? I think I have it. Mm, I think I might have it. Okay. Share. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to close this out. Close this out. Oh, I just lost Alicia. That's why. Oh, that's why. I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm so sorry, guys. I was waiting for Alicia and I something must have happened. She got guys, go to the bit.ly I just put on there. And it should take you to the next section. So sorry, guys. It's all the way at the very beginning too. I apologize. I thought she was still in here with me. She abandoned me. I don't know. Yes, assessments totally can be changed. Yes, and they can also be integrated into Google Classroom. Just make sure you do the integrations, but go and when you go under assessments, go to create new, create your own, and then they'll give you a whole bunch on there. I've someone who's been teaching as long as me, who very first, um, uh, my very first tests were on a typewriter. If I can figure it out. Okay, Lorraine, if you could go up to, I just put the bit.ly in there. And I think if I might be able to kick you all out. But if you could go under the chat. So I put the bit.ly up there, which should take you guys. Woohoo. Okay.